Mrs. Leganke here for week 3 of our distance learning. And this is an overview of Ms. Hartman and Mrs. Leganke's math class for the week. So let's kind of run through the agenda for the week. I look all the way to Friday. Remember, there's no school on Friday, and so it's just a 4-day week. So we're focused on angles this week. We're going to use relationships between angles created by parallel lines cut by a transversal to find missing angles. So there's a lot of vocabulary with this section, so we're going to first go over a Quizlet today and then look at Dreambox lessons. Tomorrow there's going to be a Go Formative lesson. On Wednesday we're going to use the website thatquiz.org to practice. And on Thursday there's an optional scavenger hunt. With Dreambox each week, the goal to get 3 lessons in Dreambox. There are 2 Zoom sessions available, and we're going to do a Quizlet live on the Zoom session, so that would be kind of cool to partake in. So focusing just on today, on Monday, directions are here. There's going to be a video to explain exploring relationships, so you'll take a look at that video, and you'll do the Quizlet, so you can select the link here and get to your Quizlet. Or start working at your Dreambox. And another thing that's kind of cool that Ms. Hartman figured out is how to hit a link and get some extra help, and you can sign up for a time slot. I like that a lot. So I want to take a minute and just run through the 12 vocabulary words, and then I'll show you on Quizlet how you can make a test out of them. The first term is called vertical angles, and vertical angles are across from each other. So A and B are vertical angles, and they're congruent. So if angle A was 40 degrees, then angle B would also be 40 degrees. They're equal to each other. So vertical angles are across from each other. The second term is called supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are 2 or more angles on a straight line, and they add up to 180. So if this angle is 140 right here, which it is, then they would both add up to 180. So you would do 180 minus 140, and then this angle here would be 40. So 40 plus 140 equals 180. So supplementary angles are a pair of angles on a straight line that add up to 180. Your next term is complementary angles. Complementary angles are 2 or more angles that add up to 90. So these 2 angles together would equal 90 degrees. So if A was 30 degrees, you would do 90 minus 30 to get 60. So that would mean that B would be 60, because 30 plus 60 equals 90 degrees. So those are called complementary angles, 2 angles that add up to 90 degrees. Your next term is adjacent angles, and those are angles that are next to each other. So the word adjacent just means next to. So 1 and 2 in this picture are adjacent angles. They're next to each other. Okay, your next set of terms, we have alternate interior angles. Angles on the inside of parallel lines. So the inside of parallel lines, but opposite of the transversal. The transversal is this red line right here. Okay, so if I were to highlight the inside the parallel lines, see how that's inside the parallel lines. The alternate interior angles would be 7 and 8, because they're inside the parallel lines and they alternate, and 5 and 6 are alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles are congruent. So if angle 7 inside the picture If angle 7 was, let's say, 120 degrees, then angle 8 would also be 128 degrees. So similar to that, we have alternate exterior angles. The next term, exit, like on the exit on the outside. So angles on the outside of parallel lines, but opposite of the transversal. The transversal is that red line. So if, again, I highlight inside the parallel lines, okay, so we're on exterior now. So now we look on the outside of the parallel lines. So 1 and 2 are alternate exterior angles, and so are 3 and 4. 1 and 2 are congruent. So if angle 1 was, let's say angle 1 was 140 degrees, then angle 2 would be 140 degrees. So alternate exterior angles are located on the outside of the parallel lines and opposite or alternating the transversal, and they are congruent. Your next term is called corresponding angles. Angles that are on the same position from one line to another line. Okay, so let's see, corresponding. So 2 and 6 are in the same position. So if we look at this line, the 2 is right there. And if we look at this line, the 6 is right there. So they share the same position on the line. So 2 and 6 are corresponding angles, and they are congruent. And see, remember that symbol? Let me zoom in on that. Remember that symbol right there? The equal sign with the squiggle? That means congruent. So if angle 2 was 80 degrees, then angle 6 would be 80 degrees because they are congruent. So corresponding, they share the same position on the line. We've already thrown this word around, transversal. And transversal is the line that intersects through 2 or more, creating multiple angles. So in our previous pictures, we've had the parallel lines, and then we had another line that cut through. So that line right here is called the transversal. That's the transversal, the line that cuts across. And then there's 4 more congruent angles. We already know what the word congruent means. They're angles that have the same measure. So it looks like the picture kind of cut off here, but if angle Q is 100 degrees, then it looked like that angle was also going to be 100. So congruent angles just mean they're the same measure. Okay, same side exterior. So exterior means on the outside or exiting. So I always like to kind of look at the inside of the parallel lines. This says same side exterior. So they're on the outside of the parallel lines, but they are on the same side. See how they're on the same side of the red line? Exterior angles that lie on the same side of the transversal are called same side exterior. And then the next term is kind of opposite of that. It's same side interior. So if we were to highlight inside the parallel lines, you can see that 1 and 2 are on the same side of the transversal, but they're on the interior. And the last little word or phrase here is interior angles of triangles. You need to know that inside a triangle, the 3 angles that are in a triangle add up to 180. So here it says angle A plus angle B plus angle C equals 180. So that's kind of a very special number with triangles. So my suggestion would be to flip through the deck and practice them a bit and create a test for yourself. When you're setting up a test for yourself, choose the options. I like to start with just the multiple choice. So you want to uncheck the other boxes and just have multiple choice selected, and then hit create new test. And it will look like this. So you'll have the picture. Here we go. Here's what it sets up. You get a bunch of answers to choose from. 2 or more angles that add up to 90 degrees. Oh, I know that one. Do you? It's complementary angles. And then it will go on like that. So that's a good way to practice for this too. So the point is just start to get yourself familiar with the angle vocabulary. Okay, so again, back to our agenda. You're going to explore the relationship of angles and use the Quizlet, and then go into your dream box and try to get 3 lessons for the week. And again, you can click there to sign up for extra help. Another reminder, when you're going into Dreambox, you're going to go through Clever to do that. Log in with Google, and our app should be here. So the app should be downloaded in self-service first, which I think most of you did. But to get into Dreambox, we use Clever, and we select the app in Clever. That way we don't need a username, password, anything like that. Okay, so that's a look at Monday for you. Again, sign up for the extra help sessions. Please keep communicating with us. We want to see you in the Zoom. We want to hear from you, respond to our emails, all that good stuff.